Hi there, my name is Deborah Ballard. I'm a transgender woman and a lesbian. I'm also a senior IT architect for IBM Global Services. I've been transgender my whole life. Even before I could talk, my mother noticed that I didn't act like the other boys. I usually played with girls and avoided other boys until I was 6 and the school forced me to play with boys. 10 to 12 boys would beat me up 3 to 5 times a day for 8 years. I was hospitalized over 60 times as a result. 20,000 aggravated assault, all ignored by everyone, teachers, administration, doctors, because I was a sissy, a queer, a faggot, a fairy, but not a person. When I was almost 7, I told my mom I wanted to be like the other girls so I could play with them again. Back then, transsexuals were treated with electric shock to the brain, aversion therapy, a polite word for torture, and sleep deprivation every day for 90 days. When that didn't work, they do a lobotomy, not hormones and surgery. Mom told me I couldn't tell anyone or something really terrible would happen. During puberty, I tried to commit suicide every week. I never told anyone. Drug overdoses, dancing in heavy traffic, drinking on Antabuse, even eating a quarter-pound of ground glass. I also had blackouts. I was a very bad girl then. I'd go down on girls and boys. I guess that makes me bisexual. Because I was feminine, everybody assumed I was gay. When guys tried to pick me up, I introduced them to each other. I was the gay social director in high school. In 1980, I took my last drink and drug. In 1987, I smoked my last cigarette. I started transition in 1988. My therapist couldn't believe I'd lived so long. Most girls like me died before they were 20 if they didn't transition. I lost my job, my wife, my kids, my home. Then I found people who accepted me and supported my transition. However, I had to abort that transition or risk losing all visitation and contact with my kids due to a social worker connected through my wife's church. I wouldn't let her husband beat the kids. In the 90s, I worked on some interesting projects, making the internet available to the public, getting 8,000 publishers to put their content on the internet, doing e-commerce on the internet, pushing open source standards so nobody could own the internet, making the internet global by shipping old computers to other countries and training them to put Linux on those obsolete computers. In 1999, I was recruited by IBM. A key reason for my accepting was that IBM had such a strong diversity program. They've earned my trust, and I don't regret that decision for a second. And they supported Linux. Shortly after my youngest daughter graduated from college, I started the process of transition again. I went to full-time in 2012. Most people don't realize I wasn't born a woman until I slip when recalling stories of my past. When I told my Blue Pages manager that I was transgender and I'd like to go full-time in a few months, he arranged for my next client engagement to be done as a woman 2 weeks later. My clients have been wonderful and very supportive. My people have noticed I listen better. I don't interrupt as often. And I'm a more effective leader. I'm also married to my wife, Lee Ballard. She's been very supportive from the very beginning of this second transition. We consider ourselves lesbians. As Debbie, I'm also very active in supporting the online transgender community, transgender and LGBT social networks, and local support groups. On Facebook, I'm Debbie Lawrence. I've also written 6 books, including Debbie's Secret Life, an autobiography, Living in Stealth series, which explores being transgender before and after transition, and Solitary, which looks at religion and LGBT issues. Thank you.